Hi and welcome. I'm Jennifer Bonoff, founder of BuildYourDigitalBrand.com. Doug and I are excited to share our interview series on personal branding. Hear from a diverse group of experts on the purpose and benefits of establishing your brand. Learn how to stand out and be memorable.
I'm here today with Janna Kefalas. She's a certified professional career coach and founder of ForwardThink Careers. She works with early to mid-career professionals, providing them with job search and networking strategies that tap the hidden job market. Aside from career coaching, she has a background in recruiting and HR in both for-profit and non-profit sectors. So Janna, thanks for coming here today. And I know you started out working in recruiting and HR. So you were searching for prospective employees, reviewing resumes, and interviewing job candidates. Now you're on the opposite side working as a career coach. You say in your website that you work with frustrated job seekers to help them find the job they love. Do you feel that having a visible personal brand is important to the success of your clients in their job search?
Absolutely. I definitely think so. And I think that was really solidified for me when I was on the other side of the hiring table. Because, the fact of the matter is we all have a personal brand. We just might not be aware of it. If you think about it, everything that you do or write or say or post or tweet is going to affect your personal brand. And people are getting an impression of you. They're making quick decisions about you, especially if you're in a job search. So what's important is to really be in control of your personal brand, to make sure that you are managing it the way that you want to, that you are creating the right impression to employers, about the types of roles that you're right for, and you're really specific and focused in your messaging.
Okay, very nice. I just a follow up on that is just when you are working with clients of your own, do you make it a point to review their personal brand or their digital brand and see what you can find about them, or do you just rely on them to sort of tell you what they have, just to get a feel for what you do on that?
No, I definitely look them up online. I definitely look at their LinkedIn profile and their social media pages, even before I start working with them, just to kind of get a sense of what's out there, because I know that, it's good to have another set of eyes on everything, because this is going to affect, how viable they are as a candidate. So I definitely want to be able to give them feedback when necessary. Absolutely.
And I'm sure sometimes you find that candidates don't necessarily know everything that's out there. Sometimes there's things they were unaware of, and it's always good to have another person check it out and see what you might want to do about it.
Oh, definitely. Yep.
Yeah. So if you had a client that had little or no visible personal branding when you were looking for it, what three things would you tell them to do first to start the process of establishing their own digital brand?
Okay, so the first of the three things would be to really get clear on your messaging. So, if you think about it, if you had to create a brochure for a product, you really couldn't create that brochure until you really knew exactly what that product was, right? All the attributes, what it offered, et cetera. And so you're really the product here. So, you want to kind of know what you're selling. And so you want to have a really clear sense of, what are your top skill sets? What do you bring to the table? What problems do you solve, and how do you go about solving them? What methodologies do you use? What strategies, what technologies do you use, so that your messaging is really clear and focused. And then kind of once you have a sense of that, then it's good to do a little bit of kind of, marketplace research. And the best way to do that, I think, is to look at several job descriptions of the types of roles that you want to be considered for. And you really take a look at the language they're using. What are all the keywords that are used in these job descriptions? What are the requirements? And you want to make sure that your messaging in your, in your resume, in your LinkedIn profile, on your personal website really matches a lot of the language that are used in these job descriptions. And then, you can also kind of take a look at profiles, like the LinkedIn profiles of other professionals who have the same or similar titles to the types of roles that you're going to be targeting, just to get a sense of how they're branding themselves and the language that they're using. You obviously don't want to copy anything, but it's good to kind of get a sense of, what's out there, how people are marketing themselves, and that will kind of give you some ideas as to how you can differentiate yourself. And then the third thing I would tell, clients to do is once you kind of, like I said, have the idea of the messaging and the language you want to be using, you just really want to create consistency across your digital platforms. So if that's your LinkedIn profile, your personal website, your Facebook, Twitter page, Instagram, etc., that everything is very consistent. You can use a lot of these social media platforms to post relevant industry-related articles so that, you kind of are seen as a subject matter expert. And, if an employer is kind of flipping through your different sites or social media pages, they really kind of have a sense of who you are. It's very consistent. It really flows. And then they have this sense of what roles you're right for.
Okay, well, that all makes very good sense. It's a very competitive job market today, and it's difficult for candidates to stand out and be memorable to a recruiter or a potential employer. So what advice do you give to your clients to help them stand out and be memorable?
Yeah, well, I think, this is kind of an interesting question because I think sometimes as a job seeker, it's kind of easy to get caught up in seeing things from your perspective. You think, I really need a job. I need to find someone who will hire me. I need that steady paycheck. I need to be working. But that's not, how employers are seeing you. They have their own problems to solve, right? They're not in the business of trying to help a job seeker get a job. If there's a job opening, it's usually because one of three things happened. Either someone got fired, someone quit, or it's a new position because of increased business. So there's work piling up most likely, so they're really looking for someone who is going to have the right combination of skills, who's going to be a quick learner, who's going to be able to hit the ground running and, really mesh with the team, bring new ideas, etc. So, as a job seeker, I think how you can stand out is you really want to get a sense of what the pain points are of that company or their department so that you're able to really showcase how you're going to really help them, improve things in their department. And some ways to go about doing this is, if you're really kind of getting kind of a targeted list of companies, then you really want to be doing research on those companies, aside from just looking on their website. You want to look at all their social media pages. You want to do research online to see what types of articles are written about them in the media. And then also, if you're able to, connect with employees at those companies on LinkedIn and start some conversations so that you're really getting a good sense of what that company is all about, what their needs are, so that when you're, writing your resume and your cover letter and you're in an interview setting, you're really able to convey how you have the right skill sets and the right experience to really help their team be successful. And you really kind of have a sense of their needs and their goals. And I think that's how you're going to really be able to stand out.
Okay. So I know that there's a great number of digital assets a person might establish when creating their own digital brand. These include social media accounts, personal websites, maintaining a blog, and they all have either positive or negative, they could have a positive or negative impact on someone's brand or reputation depending on how they're used. What are your thoughts regarding online reputation management, and is it something you discuss with your clients in relation to their personal branding?
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. And it's true. All of those social media platforms, they can really either help you or hurt you. And you just have to assume that employers are Googling you before they're bringing you in for an interview. So, you definitely want to know what's out there, be in charge of it, be managing it. So there's some different ways you can do that. Starting with LinkedIn or maybe your personal website. Once again, you want to make sure that the content is really focused, it's really tailored to the types of roles that you want to be considered for, that you don't have a lot of extra things in there that might be confusing for them. And then you want to make sure that your profile photo is professional looking. You don't have to use like a professional photographer necessarily or anything, but just wearing kind of professional clothing, and so that they're kind of able to envision you, in kind of an office setting. And then in terms of, the other social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, et cetera. Once again, you really want to be careful with what you're posting, what you're tweeting, what photos you're putting on Instagram, et cetera. Make sure nothing is off color, offensive, controversial, because that can, be a red flag. And I think it just a good thing to do is before you post anything or tweet anything, just think, what would a prospective employer think about this? And if there's any question, then, maybe refrain from doing that. But, there are ways that these social media platforms can actually, really help you and help you with your branding. And, one thing that you can be doing, I think I kind of mentioned, is posting industry-related articles like on Facebook or Twitter, maybe writing a little commentary about it, asking people to comment or share, because it doesn't, those platforms don't have to just be personal. They can have kind of a professional sense to them as well. And once again, it kind of creates that consistent messaging, and it really does brand you as an authority in your industry.
Very good. Now, I just have a thought on that topic is, what was your experience, or what have your experiences been in dealing with people who are going on interviews or HR? Have they had recruiters or potential employers tell them that they've Googled them, and do they talk about that, or is that sort of something that you just think is going on behind the scenes, and by the time that they bring you in for an interview, that you're kind of already been searched out and they just keep it kind of quiet?
Yeah, it usually doesn't get brought up really directly in an interview, but I know that I did it when I was recruiting, and there's a lot of recruiter surveys out there. JobVite does, a yearly recruiter survey, and I know that, God, what was the statistic? I know that it was like 87% of recruiters use social media to find, or do research on candidates. So they're, whether they're sourcing on LinkedIn or on, Facebook or whatnot, they're on social media. Right. So that means that they are on your profile page, they're looking at you. And I know that there was another statistic, and I don't remember it off the top of my head, but
that's okay.
Yeah, it was kind of about what was the likelihood that they would, not bring in a candidate because of some type of negative, post or photo. And it was it was a decently high percentage. So, right. It's just, is every recruiter doing this every day? Maybe not, but it's just something that you definitely want to keep in mind. And, like I said, you want to manage it. It's your brand, and so you really want to stay on top of things.
Okay. And just to finish up with, do you think it's beneficial for individuals to create and publish content related to their industry or areas of expertise to increase their online visibility and establish some authority on those topics?
Yeah, absolutely. I really think it can help. And let me tell you, if you're doing it, you're like 10 steps ahead of a lot of job seekers, because a lot of people aren't doing this. So in terms of one, kind of easy way to really stand out as a candidate is to be creating your own content. And what's great is there's a lot of possibilities to do this. LinkedIn has their own blogging platform called Publisher. So you can be writing, blog posts and putting them on your profile page, sharing them with your followers, et cetera. If you have a personal website, you can create a blog on that. And so, and then there's sites like Medium, once again, where you can be creating blog posts. And, in terms of coming up with ideas for topics, it's good to just, kind of do some research with other industry blogs and just sort of see what's out there. But I think, talking about industry trends or, any helpful resources, or any like how-tos or do's or don'ts or, common myths. Those are some kind of good topic ideas that can really help you stand out. And then once you've written the content, and once again, the content doesn't have to feel like an academic paper. Blog posts can have a lot of personality as well. And so it can really kind of give people a sense of who you are and sort of the language you like to use and all of that. But once you've written these blog posts, then obviously you want to be sharing your content. So, with LinkedIn, aside from just putting it on your profile page, if you join industry-related groups, there's so many groups on LinkedIn, then you can be posting your articles on these groups. And, other, employers are on these groups and whatnot. They could see your content and, think, oh, who's this? And click on your profile and then bring you in. And then you can also, you definitely want to be sharing them on Facebook, Twitter, if you're into Pinterest, you can create a pin, put it on Medium, things like that. And I think that the more content you're writing and the more that you're sharing, and that you're also encouraging other people to share, that is just going to help with your online visibility so that when an employer does Google your name, some of these articles are going to pop up, hopefully close to the top. And that's going to really, once again, it's all about that consistent branding and really kind of showing what you're all about, what you bring to the table as a candidate, what your strengths are, your top skill sets, and all of that. And that's going to really help employers see that you're the right fit for a specific role.
Okay, well, great, Janna. And thank you for being here with us today on the Build Your Digital Brand interview series.